Hello guys, my name is Victoria Pavlov. I'm the Photoshop artist. Welcome to my studio. Today I will show you how to get started with Adobe Photoshop on iPad. It's super easy. So guys, let's start. To open my Adobe Photoshop on iPad, I simply click on this Photoshop on iPad icon and voila, I will be redirected to a home screen in Adobe Photoshop on iPad. Under the home screen session, we can find our recent project, all project we recently worked with. Also, we can start our project opening our image, any document, any PSD document we can open in Photoshop, and all layers will be available for adjustment. So if you worked with PSD file before, you can open this file in Adobe Photoshop on iPad and you will have all layers available for you. Doesn't matter how many layers you have, 5 or 50. And I love it a lot. Also, we can create a new project, so we can start working on our project from scratch, and we will talk about this later on. Also, from the home screen in Adobe Photoshop on iPad, you can discover about new and upcoming features, just like this. If you will click on Learn tab, you will be redirected to Learn session, where you can find all tutorials about Adobe Photoshop on iPad. Next session is the Cloud Document session. I will click on Cloud Document session and voila, guys. I love this session. Under the Cloud Document session, we can find all our cloud documents. We can access to our cloud documents from anywhere at any time. By the way, any artwork you create in Adobe Photoshop on iPad is after saved as a cloud document. You can sort your cloud documents by date modified, date created, by name. You can switch between the list view and the grid view. You can create a new folder to organize your cloud document. If you will click on three dots icon under a cloud document thumbnail, you will be able to rename, duplicate, or delete your cloud document. Next session is deleted session, where you can find all your deleted documents or projects. I will be back to my home session. Under home session, guys, we have, as I mentioned just a second ago, our recent documents or project we recently worked with. If you will click on three dots icon under a recent document thumbnail, you will be able to rename, duplicate, or delete your layer. Now, let's talk about how we can create our document because we need to start working on our project. We can start working on our project starting with our image. Remember, guys, we talked about PSD document we previously worked with, or we can start working on our project from scratch. To start working on our project from scratch, we need to click on Create New tab, and we will be redirected to Templates workspace. Here we have a ready to go templates. I name these templates ready to go. Why? Because we can select any templates and we can start working on our project right away without modifying, without customizing our templates. Example, now I'm located under a recent template session where I can see all my recent templates I worked with. If I would like to start working on my print project, I will click on Print tab and I will be redirected to Print template session. Where I can find all templates for my print projects. Same with screen and film and video. Doesn't matter what templates you will choose to go with. You always can start working on your project right away, or you can customize your templates. On the right side of our screen, we have new document session. First of all, what I would like to do, I would like to rename my document. It's easier way. I will double click I will highlight it and I will rename it to my tutorial, just like that. I can switch units between inches, pixels, centimeters, millimeter, points. I can change width, height, orientation, resolution. I can change background color. So after I customize my templates in a way I want to, I will click create, just like that. And Photoshop welcomes us into this beautiful space we can start working on our project in. Look at this. Let's talk about layers. Layers are important. First of all, we will talk about the right side of our screen. On the right side of our screen, we have two sets of icons. Top sets of icons are top set of icons is responsible for our layers. I will click on first icon and basically I expanded just a visual representation of my layers. If I will have 10 layers, I will have a visual representation of 10 layers. If I will have one layer, as I have right now, I will have a visual representation only of one layer. By the way, Photoshop by default creates a document with one layer. Next icon is a layer icon. I will click on it and I will expand my layers panel, just like this. From this panel, I can rename my layers. Example, I will double click and I will rename this layer to background layer, just like that. Also, I can hide visibility of this layer simply clicking on icon. If I would like to bring visibility back, I will click back on this icon, just like that. Next icon is layer properties panel. If you have one layer, right, like I have right now, you can expand your layer properties upper. Just if you have, if you would like to bring visibility, if you would like to have more layer properties, basically. Space, you can bring your layer properties panel up. If you have more layers, you would like to have bring visibility of layers panel more in focus, you can bring your layer properties panel down, just like that. Again, it's up to you. Layer properties panel is very powerful panel. Here, guys, we have of course, our layer with a layer name, background, because right now we have only one layer. We have opacity slider. We can change opacity of our layer. We can change value of opacity for a highlighted layer from 0 to 100. We have a blend mode. Look how many blend modes we have. It's amazing. I love blend modes. Also, we have add clipped adjustments workspace. We will talk about this just in a second. Now, let's talk about the second set of these beautiful icons. We will start with this plus icon. Long press of this icon will expand a new menu. From this menu, you can create a new layer. You can create a new adjustment layer. You can create a new empty group. And the last feature option in this menu is paste as new layer. This feature is grayed out right now because we didn't copy anything before. If we will copy, example, one layer, this feature will be enabled for us. Next icon is an eye icon. Simply we can hide visibility of a highlighted layer, and we can bring back visibility simply clicking on this icon one more time. Next icon is a layer mask icon, and we will talk about this just in a second. Guys, we will talk about next two icons just in a second. The last icon I want to talk about right now is this three dots icon. If we will click on it, we will expand a layer action panel where we can apply create actions for our layer, for our active layer. Look at this. Some of them are grayed out right now because we have only one layer without basically any information except white background. Now, let's talk about the left side of our screen. Here we have our toolbar with all these amazing tools, and we will talk about these tools just in a second. Next of our tools panel, we have the option panel. You can think about this like about the options bar. By the way, you can reposition this option bar anywhere you like. You can pin it to your toolbar or reposition in any place you are more comfortable with, just like that. All options in this tool panel are different. All options depend on the tool which is currently highlighted. If you will click on these three dots, you will expand extra setting for each tool. Do not forget about this. And again, guys, we will talk about all these tools more deep later on during our next tutorials. And by the way, if you would like me to record something specific, if you would like to learn about some specific tool or specific option, just let me know. I will be happy to do it for you. And the last tool feature I would like to talk about is our modifier. Modifier is super powerful tool. By the way, you can move your modifier to any corner. You can place it at any place in your screen. It's up to you. And again, we will talk about this modifier later on during our next tutorial, because a modifier is a very powerful tool, and this tool deserves a separate tutorial. So now let's talk about what we can do in Adobe Photoshop on iPad. We can do many different things. We can start our painting project. We can start our photo restoration, photo retouching. But today we are talking about how to get started with Adobe Photoshop on iPad. So we will do very quick photo compositing in Adobe Photoshop on iPad. Let's start. I will reposition. By the way, guys, you can reposition your document in any way you like. You can extremely zoom it in, extremely zoom it out. It's up to you. I will reposition my document somewhere in the middle, just like that, for better preview for me. And to bring another image into my document, I will click on this image icon, and I have a few options. I can bring my image from my photos, from my camera roll. I can bring my image from my files, my Creative Cloud libraries, or I even can take image picture using my iPad Pro camera. Today I will use image in my camera roll. I will click on photos. I will click on all photos. And I will click on my library image, just like this. As you notice, Photoshop opened my new image, but Photoshop opened my new image, new layer in a new workspace, transform workspace, where I can transform my image. First of all, I will click on this transformation icons, points, and I will resize my image. And also I can reposition it just like that. Again, guys, this video is all about how to get started, and we will not get deep into each option, each feature. After I resized and repositioned my layer, my document, my image, I will click done, and just like that. And guys, Photoshop is smart enough to understand that, Victoria, I know you're working on a photo compositing. I know you need another image. Yes, Photoshop, you are right. I will click on photos. I will click on all photos, and here I have another image. I have this very smart reading girl. And again, Photoshop opens this image in a transform of workspace. I will resize my image. I will make it smaller, just like this. And I will click done. Now, no, thank you, Photoshop. I don't need another image for now. I will resize my document, and definitely now I need to remove this white background. I will click on selection tool, long press, and here, guys, we have select subject option. I will click on it, and this is what I needed to do. Photoshop is selected my main subject for me. As you notice, Photoshop did a great job, and be honest with you, this image is very complicated. But Photoshop missed a few details in my selection. First of all, Photoshop missed this white background between her elbow and her dress. So I will ask Photoshop to remove this area from my selection. Long press on selection tool. I will click quick selection tool, and I will click on this subtract from selection icon. And I will ask Photoshop, Photoshop, I don't need this area in my selection. And look at this. Photoshop removed this area from my selection. Now I would like to add a corner of this bulk to my selection because Photoshop missed it. So now I still have highlighted a quick selection tool. I will click on add to selection icon, and I will ask Photoshop, I need this area in my selection, and Photoshop is smart enough to understand. Same with here, and same with here, and around her knee. Also, guys, definitely you can do better job if you will spend more time. I don't have a lot of time now because I don't want to keep you here longer than it's supposed to be. After I'm happy with everything, after I'm happy with my selection and Photoshop selection, time to start our compositing process. As you noticed, when Photoshop selects a subject for me, Photoshop brings to my attention another panel under my document with a lot of completely wonderful features, and do not forget about 3 dots icon. All 3 dots icon are super important in Adobe Photoshop on iPad. But today we will talk about only one feature, mask feature. I will click on this mask feature, and voila, Photoshop removed my background from me. And if you will bring your attention to layers panel, you will see that Photoshop creates a layer mask. And layer mask is currently active because we can see blue border around a layer mask icon. If you would like to select image, not a layer mask, an image, you will click on image icon, and you will see that you will see a blue box around your image mask, image icon. That means you currently selected in image icon. Now I definitely need to remove this white area between her hair. To do so, I will switch to brush, my brush, long press on a brush icon, and you will be able to choose any brush from default Photoshop on iPad brushes family. I will click on soft round, and I will use a black color. But to remove this white area between her hair, I need to use a layer mask. So I will click on a layer mask icon, and now I see that I highlighted a layer mask icon because I see this blue border. I will bring size of my brush down, and I will erase this area just like that. And again, guys, you can do better job if you will spend more time. Today is not about perfect composition. Today is all about how to get started. If you painted more than you wanted, simply switch color of your brush to white, and you will be able to bring back areas you mistakenly painted before, just painted out before. Same with her knee. I would like to clean it out just like that. And again, you can do better job spending more time. Okay, now I'm happy. Now I'm happy with my composition, and now I'm happy with this story. Yes, guys, I can bring as many new assets into my document as I want. But today I will show to you another way of being creative. We can use default applications tool. And this girl, which is very smart in reading her book, currently located in a library. And she kind of floating nowhere in the air. I would like to add something to my design. I can bring another image, example, another cloud in my document, but what I will do, I will highlight my book layer. By the way, you can rename it. Double click on layer name and you can rename it. I will rename it to books, just like that. So I have highlighted my books layer. Now I need to create a new layer. I will click on this plus icon and voila, Photoshop creates a new layer for us. Long press on our brush icon, and here guys we have absolutely amazing brush. I love this brush a lot. Mixed splatter brush. I will click on it. I will change color of my brush to white. I will increase size of my brush, and I will add a few splashes of clouds around my main subject. I love this design. I love her floating on top of this cloud, but we have one imperfection in here. Our cloud supposed to be puffy like any other cloud, but now we have a situation like our main subject, this reading girl, just sits on a flat surface. How we can fix it? It's easy. I will highlight my top layer, my reading girl layer. I will create a new empty layer. I will bring size of my brush down, and I will add a few splashes of cloud. Again, you can switch between smaller and bigger size of your brush, of course, at any time. And now we have a very beautiful design, like our girl sits on this very beautiful and puffy cloud. For sure, clouds will cast shadow. How we can add shadow in Photoshop? We can clone this layer and convert it to shadow. Of course we can, but I will show to you easiest way. I will highlight my books layer again. I will create a new empty layer. I'm still using my brush I used for my clouds, but I would like to use another color. I would like to create natural looking shadow in this environment. So I would like to pick a color for my shadow from my books layer. I will click on eyedropper tool, and I will move my eyedropper tool to the place I want to pick my color from, just like that. And using same brush, maybe with bigger size, I will create this puffy shadow. I like this shadow, but I like this shape of this shadow. But this shadow, it's too dark, too harsh for my taste. How I can change it? How can I fix it? Remember, guys, we talked about blend modes in our layer properties panel. We will use them now. I will click on blend mode icon to expand it, and I will switch to probably overlay or soft light. Okay, if I will use soft light, I will have a nice smooth shadow, but I'm losing my cloud texture, cloud information in this shadow. So I will switch to overlay, and what I can do else, I can bring down opacity of my layer, just like that. Now we have beautiful color, beautiful texture in our shadow, but edges of our shadow is too harsh, too strong for our cloud shadow. We will fix it. I will click on first icon above three dots icon, and I will click on Gaussian blur, just like that. And here we can change a value for our blur effect from 0.0 to 1000.0. I will move my slider to about 16.4, no, maybe a little bit more. Yes, 43.0. And now we have very beautiful shadow with beautiful and smooth edges. I'm happy with my blur effect. I will click done. I love this. I love everything about it. But her cloud, two parts of her clouds are too bright for our environment, because our cloud is inside of the library. We can fix it. I will click on first part of our cloud, which is under reading a girl, and I will click on add clipped adjustment, just like that. Here, guys, Photoshop on iPad team introduced just a few days ago new adjustment, curves adjustment. Curves adjustment is very powerful adjustment. We can target some specific colors, and we will talk about this during our next tutorial. Today is how to get started. So today I will apply just global curves adjustment to my cloud. So what I will do, I will move just maybe something like this. I'm sorry. Yes, something like this. Let's do. Yes. And now my a cloud has more nice color. I will do same with a top part of my cloud. Clipped adjustment curves, just like this. Just like this. Not too much, guys. Not too much. Just like this. If you notice, guys, Photoshop on iPad is smart enough to understand that if I'm using add clipped adjustment, I would like to apply clipped adjustment only to the layer below this clipped adjustment, because we are applying clipped adjustment, right, guys? So Photoshop on iPad is smart enough to understand that I would like to apply adjustment only to the layer below it, and I love it a lot. So before we will start working on a few last steps in our photo compositing, I would like to bring your attention to this. If you are in a stage when you need to going to merge your layers, save your document as a PSD file before you will merge your layers, because you never know, in 5 minutes later, 20 minutes later, 20 days later, you will come back and you will say, oh, I made mistakes. So, oh my God, I need to start everything all over because I merged my layer. If you will save your document before you will merge your layers, you always come open your document before you merged your layers, and in this case all layers will be available for you, just like this. Let's pretend I saved my document, and now I will click on this 3 dots icon, but before that I will highlight my layer with some information in it. And I will click on 3 dots icon, and I will click on merge visible. Why I highlighted layer with some information? Because if I will highlight my adjustment layer and I will ask Photoshop to merge visible, Photoshop will say, "What, Victoria? What do you want me to merge? I kind of cannot understand what are you planning to do?" So I highlighted my layer with some information in it, and I will ask Photoshop, please merge visible, and voila, Photoshop merged my layers. Now I will click on add clipped adjustment one more time. I will click on exposure, and I will add some exposure to my image, just like that. And now I'm happy with my image. After I'm happy with everything, I can share, I can save my image. By the way, guys, remember that any artwork, any project we create in Adobe Photoshop on iPad is after saved as a cloud document. So when I will close my Photoshop, right away I can this file will be available as a cloud document. That means I can open this image and this file in Adobe Photoshop on desktop, in any other application, anywhere at any time. Or you can share your project, your document, simply clicking on share icon. So guys, this is what I wanted to share with you today. I did show to you how to get started with Adobe Photoshop on iPad. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for all your support. Super appreciated. Guys, I will record a lot of new tutorials. I'm planning to do so, but I would like to ask you to let me know what you want me to record, what you want me to stream about, because I will do it anyway, but it's always easier for me to know what you would like to see. So guys, thank you so much. If you like this tutorial, please share it and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much, guys, and I will see you very, very soon. Bye.